Thank you for being with us today, Dr. Wiley. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do with Marshall and with Lumen?
Sure. So I'm originally from Barbersville. Attended Marshall back in the 90s, class of 97. Have a BFA in vocal performance. So I was a music major. And then went to grad school to do educational technology, as you do after an undergraduate degree in music. So frequently. And then spent about a dozen years, some time as a postdoc and then as a tenure track and then tenured faculty. And then started Lumen, which is an educational technology company with a friend of mine based on some work that was funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And Lumen is a provider of digital courseware, so course materials that you would use in a college class, but it's fully online, interactive, automatically graded homework, things like that, with a focus on accessibility and affordability. So it's $35 as opposed to $150 or $175 that you might pay for something similar. But we have a real focus on making sure every student has access to the materials that they need, as well as making sure that when they do access those materials that they're going to have a positive, effective experience with the materials that they end up accessing.
Yeah. There's a real focus on the student's humanity, right? There's a big focus on equity and inclusion.
Equity, agency, yeah. The most recent work that we've done, funded by the Gates Foundation, the foundation's a long time funder of our work, but most recently just finished the first phase of a project looking at introductory statistics. And the single criterion we're being evaluated against in that grant is the degree to which we've eliminated race and income as predictors of success for students in that class. So we really are focused on creating equitable outcomes for everyone.
Great. Yeah, I ask you about that because a lot of the focus of our conversation today will be on AI. But I want to make sure that we're kicking it off thinking about a lot of the humanity that you deal with in what you do. Okay, and then the first thing that I want to talk to you about is, I guess it kind of involves some of that anxiety that we have surrounding AI. So let's talk about barriers. So according to WGU Labs, out of 2024, this is a recent survey, 42% of faculty believe AI tools, or I should say only 42% of faculty believe AI tools will positively impact them. What do you think the main barriers are to AI adoption in the classroom?
Just familiarity, 100% familiarity. The surveys from last year and from this year have shown if you break both faculty and administrators into groups by, they say they've used AI themselves before or they haven't used AI themselves, people who have used it feel significantly more comfortable, more positive, or more optimistic about it, and the folks who haven't are not. So I think we fear what we don't understand, and so I think that initial kind of familiarity is really the biggest obstacle.
Yeah, okay. Well, the next question is kind of related. It has to do with tech fatigue. WGU Labs also had a survey that revealed 41% of faculty report burnout and tech fatigue. What are some strategies that could be implemented to mitigate tech fatigue and burnout, especially related to AI?
Well, I think everybody was so burned out during COVID. Prior to COVID, everybody was using technology to the degree that they were comfortable with it, that they wanted to use it, they were using it the way they wanted to use it. And then, coming back to agency that we were just talking about a second ago, during COVID, everybody was stripped of their agency. You had to be online, you had to use the LMS, you had to do this, you had to do that. You really didn't have any choice. And I think that just created a ton of burnout for people that had avoided some of that for whatever their reasons were. They had chosen not to teach that way, or maybe not to learn that way. Not all students are super excited about fully online asynchronous courses either. And so I think coming right off of that sense of loss of agency, of being forced to use technology, and there's not a pandemic that's forcing everyone to use AI, but it feels like it's everywhere. It kind of feels like you don't have a choice. Like you need to figure out how to use it because the train is coming and you can get on or get run over or however you want to say it. So I think helping faculty understand that they still do have agency around how they use it and what they do with it can go a long way toward whether they feel burned out or not. As an example, I have a son who, when he works on academic things, becomes burned out within minutes, right? but can get on Minecraft and be on Minecraft for 10, 12 hours, redstoning, building very technical contraptions and machinery and things that are fully automated in the game. It doesn't feel burnt out at all. But it's because he has that sense of agency. He's doing what he wants to do. He's doing what he enjoys. And so making sure that faculty feel like they have that choice, I think, will really be key to them not feeling burnt out about their technology.
Yeah, yeah. So move away from that ultimatum, like you said, do this or be left behind, right? This threat. So then how do we ease in? What's like a small practical way that an instructor who's hesitant to use AI can just kind of dip their toe in?
I'd say the easiest way to do that is just set aside a day, and on that day, anytime you would go to Google to do a search, just go to AI and ask AI instead. Yeah, search is something that we all do. We're all really comfortable doing it. In its simplest use cases, AI is kind of a replacement for search. AI isn't going to link you off to web pages where you might be able to find answers. It's going to try to just synthesize an answer directly for you. But in terms of, I've never done anything before, I don't know how to write a prompt, I've heard that's really complicated, just instead of searching using Google, just spend a day going to Copilot, going to ChatGPT, and type in whatever you're searching for there, and just practice typing some things in the box and getting some answers back. And there's only one way to gain familiarity, right? So that's to do it.
Okay, great, great. What do you see as the role of instructional designers as AI develops in higher ed? I have a special interest in this question.
I do as well. Just a year or two ago, I was president of the International Association of Instructional Designers, so this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart too. I think the role of instructional designers certainly changes. In the past, well, you know this, we spend a lot of our time as instructional designers trying to elicit information from subject matter experts, which typically are faculty, and we have a lot of things that we want them to tell us, and we hope that they'll tell us in certain ways, the ways that we ask them to communicate with us, whether that's in spreadsheets or documents or however it is we're trying to get that information from them. And the number one cause of projects being delayed is always that your SME is late getting things back to you that you wished you had had from them on time. So I think the practice and experience that instructional designers have, trying to be really explicit about what we want, elicit the information that we need in the format that we need. I think that experience translates very well into prompting AI models. And I think the idea that we can use AI to generate the first drafts of the products that we're creating, and then pull in a subject matter expert in a review, in an editorial, peer review or quality assurance kind of role. I think for the next 2 or 3 years, instructional design looks a lot like that. And so instructional designers have to be comfortable working with the AI, but they still have to work with the human. And instructional designers are also always project managers, so now there's another piece of the project that you have to figure out how to manage effectively. But I think in the short term, I think that's what it looks like for us.
Yeah, certainly what I am finding. AI is helping me a lot with the project management. And along the lines of what you were saying there, Ethan Mollick out of Wharton has been talking a lot about how what he's seeing is that educators are often the best at prompting. We might be resistant to it at first, but then once you get into it, it turns out that we're actually pretty gifted at prompting.
We're pretty good at, we write instructions for students all the time. Right? Do this assignment, do it exactly this way, do it in this format, turn it in by this time. Like, we do a lot of instruction writing. And if you've ever been fortunate enough to have a teaching assistant, then before you can turn them loose doing anything, there's a lot of instruction around, this is how I want this done, and I want it done like this. And really prompting is just giving instructions on how you want things done. So as people who write assessments, who maybe mentor graduate students or work with teaching assistants if you teach larger sections. Those skills all translate pretty nicely over into prompting models.
Yeah, or backward planning. Then it helps with, chain thinking as you're prompting. Yeah. All right, thank you.